We'll now study the method of step deviation. So in the first, we have the class intervals 0 to 10, which is 7, 10 to 20, 10, 20 to 30, 15, 30 to 48, and 40 to 50 is 10. We need to find the class marks. To find the class marks, we do upper limit plus lower limit divide by 2. So 0 plus 10 divide by 2. And that is equal to 5. Then for the next, 10 plus 20 divide by 2. That's equal to 15. For the next class, lower limit 20 plus upper limit 30 divide by 2 equals 25. Next, lower limit 30 plus upper limit 40 divide by 2 equals 35. Next class, lower limit 40 plus upper limit 50 divide by 2, and that equals to 45. In the next step, we need to find our assumed mean, that is A. We take the middle value 25. So we take 25 as A, and we subtract each of the xi minus 25. So first 5 minus 25. In the next, your xi is 15, so it will be 15 minus 25. For the next interval, your xi is 25, assumed mean is 25, so 25 minus 25. Next is 35 minus 25. And for the last, 45 minus 25. Now 5 minus 25 equals minus 20. 15 minus 25 equals minus 10. 25 minus 25 equals 0. 35 minus 25 equals 10. And 45 minus 25 equals 20. Now we have to find UI. To find UI, we need to divide di by 10. And di by 10. Why 10? Because if you see the class interval is 10. In each case, see 10 minus 0, 10, 10 to 20 is 10, 20 to 30, the gap is 10. So we divide each one by 10. So in the first class interval, you will do minus 20, that is the di, divide by 10. Next one, you will take minus 10, divide by 10. Each di, you are going to divide by 10. So 0 divide by 10. 10 divide by 10. Next is 20 divide by 10. So for the first class, we will get minus 2. Minus 10 divided by 10 is minus 1. 0 divided by 10 is 0. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 20 divided by 10 is 2. For the last, we need to do Fi Ui. Means we have to multiply Fi column and the Ui column. 7 is Fi, Ui is minus 2, and this is minus 14. Fi 10, Ui minus 1 equal to minus 10. Fi 15 Ui 0 is 0. Fi 8 Ui 1 is plus 8. Fi10 UI2 is 20. And we need to find the total of Fi UI. So sigma Fi UI equal to plus 4. Next, we need to find the total number of workers, that is sigma Fi, and that comes to 50. So these two readings are important. Fi is total is 50 and Fi UI is 4. So we know our A we had taken as 25. The H was equal to 10. Fi, summation Fi or total number of readings were 50 and Fi UI was equal to 4. The formula for mean is equal to A plus sigma Fi UI over N into H. A is 25 plus sigma Fi UI is 4 over number of readings were 50 and the H was 10. So into 10. So this is now equal to 25 plus, this works out as 0.8. So 25 plus 0.8 is 25.8. The mean is equal to 25.8. Now for the next sum, we have the class intervals, we have the frequency, and we need to find the class mark xi, and we do the same process, upper limit plus lower limit divide by 2. So in the first case it would be 300 plus 399 divided by 2, and that would be 349.5. 400 plus 499 divided by 2, that is 449.5. Next is 500 plus 599 divided by 2, and that will be 449.5. 600 plus 699 divided by 2, 649.5. 700 plus 799 divided by 2, that is 749.5. 800 plus 899 divided by 2, so that's 849.5, and then you'll get 949.5, then 1049.5, 1149.5. In the next step column we need to find our DI. To find the DI, we first have to decide the assumed mean value, that is A, and that A we take more or less the middle value. And in this case, the middle value is 749.5. So 749.5 is equal to A. To find DI, we subtract each of the xi's from 749.5. In fact, we subtract 749.5 from each of the xi's to get DI. So in the first case, we have 349.5, and we minus it from A, that is 749.5. Next we have 449.5, and we subtract minus 749.5, that is A. Then we have 549.5 minus 749.5. For the next reading, it is 649.5, and we subtract the A, which is 749.5. Next one, 749.5 minus A, which is 749.5. In the next reading, we have 849.5 minus A, which is 749.5. And in this manner, we keep subtracting. X is 949.5 minus A, that is 749.5. Next is 1049.5 minus A, that is 749.5. And the last 1149.5, which is Xi, minus A, that is 749.5. In the first case on subtraction, we get minus 400. Then on the next subtraction, minus 300. The next subtraction, minus 200. 649.5 minus 749.5 will be minus 100. 0. The next subtraction will be plus 100. Thereafter, plus 200. On doing the next subtraction, plus 300. And for the last subtraction, plus 400. Our next column is of UI, and to find UI, we have to divide each of the DI by 100. How did we get the value of 100? If you look at DI, all the DIs are divisible by 100. We have minus 400, minus 300, minus 200, minus 100, 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, all are divisible by 100. Even the class interval, if you look up at the class interval, it is also 100. So divide minus 400 by 100. In the next, your DI is minus 300, and we divide it by 100 to give us minus 3. Next, minus 200, the DI is minus 200. We divide by 100 to give us minus 2. Next is minus 100. Divide by 100 to give minus 1. Then 0. Divide by 100 is 0. 100 divide by 100 is 1. Then now here DI is 200. Divide by 100 is 2. Then we have 300, which is a DI. Divide by 100, we get plus 3. Each DI is to be divided by 100. Now 400, DI is 400. Divide by 100. And here you get plus 4. The next step is to multiply Fi UI. In the first class, Fi is 14, UI is minus 4, and that's equal to minus 56. Then we Fi 46, UI minus 3 equals minus 138. Fi 58, UI minus 2 multiply, you get minus 116. Fi 76 into UI minus 1 minus 76. 68 into UI 0 is 0. Fi 62 into UI plus 1 is 62. Fi 48 into UI plus 2 is 96. Fi 22 into Ui 3 is 66. 6 into 4 is 24. Then we do summation Fi Ui, which is equal to minus 138, and we do the summation Fi, sum of all the readings, which is equal to 400. These two readings are important, 400 and minus 138. Now for the next, we know our value of n is 400. Our SU mean we took as 749.5. The h, we divided each di by 100, and sigma Fi Ui is equal to minus 138. The formula for mean equals to A, that SU mean, plus sigma Fi Ui over n into h. Now the A is 749.5 plus summation Fi Ui is minus 138 over n is 400 into h is 100. So we'll have 749.5 minus 34.5, and this is equal to 715. So our mean here works out to be 715. Now for the next sum, we have the class intervals, we have the frequency, we need to find the class mark, upper limit plus lower limit divide by 2. Next, upper limit 50 plus lower limit 65 divide by 2. Next, lower limit 65 plus upper limit 80 divide by 2. Lower limit 80 plus upper limit 95 divide by 2. Lower limit 95 plus upper limit 110 divide by 2. Lower limit 110 plus upper limit 125 divide by 2. So in the first, when we do 35 plus 50 divide by 2, we get 42.5. The next class mark, when we do 50 plus 65 divide by 2, we get 57.5. Next class mark, 65 plus 80 divide by 2, we get 72.5. Then 80 plus 95 divide by 2 equal to 87.5. 95 plus 110 divide by 2, we get 102.5. And last, 110 plus 125 divide by 2 equals to 117.5. So that was our xi. Now to find the di, we need to find the assumed mean. Assumed mean is the middlemost value. But if you notice here in xi, you have two middle values, 72.5 and 87.5. But you can take any that you want. I will decide to take A as 87.5. So to get my di, each reading of, I have to do xi minus A for each of my readings. So in the first case, I do 42.5 minus A is 87.5. The next, I have 57.5, which is my xi, minus A, that is 87.5. Then I have 72.5 minus 87.5. Next, we have 87.5 minus 87.5. Then 102.5 minus 87.5. And for the last, 117.5 minus 87.5. So each xi minus SU mean. On the first subtraction, when we do 72.5 minus 87.5, we get minus 45. Next subtraction, 57.5 minus 87.5 is minus 30. 72.5 minus 87.5 is minus 15. 87.5 minus 87.5 should be 0. 102.5 minus 87.5 is plus 15, and 117.5 minus 87.5 is plus 30. Now for the next column, that is UI, we have to do xi minus a, that is the di, divide each by 15. And why have we taken 15? Because if you see all the di's, minus 45, minus 30, minus 15, 0, 15, 30, all are divisible by 15. And the class size is also 15. Each of the class size, upper limit minus the lower limit is 15. So that is why each di has to be divided by 15. So in the first case, we do minus 45 divide by 15. Next is minus 30. That's a di divide by 15. Next we have minus 15 divide by 15. Then 0 divide by 15. Next is 15 divide by 15. And 30 divide by 15. So minus 45 divided by 15 is minus 3. Minus 30 divided by 15 is minus 2. Minus 15 divided by 15 is minus 1. 0 divided by 15, 0. 15 divided by 15, 1. 30 divided by 15, 2. Our next column is Fi UI. So in the first case, Fi is 25 into UI minus 3, which gives us minus 75. Fi 47 into UI minus 2 equals minus 94. Fi 72 into UI minus 1 is minus 72. Fi 80 into UI 0 is 0. Fi 64 into UI plus 1 is 6. Fi 12 into UI plus 2 is 24. When we sum up Fi UI, we will get minus 153. The next is we need to sum up the frequency to get the total observations, and in this case it is 300, not 30, 300. So my A was 87.5. The summation of all the readings, the total of all the readings was 300. Sigma Fi UI was minus 153. And the H was 15. So the next, we know the mean, value of mean is equal to A plus sigma Fi UI over N into H. So we put the values, we put A as 87.5 plus Fi UI is minus 153, number of readings is 300 into H is 15. So that equals to now 87.5 minus 765, and this is equal to 79.85, which is approximately equal to 80.